Hello everyone, it's Julie from sproutsandstems.com here, and today's video is going to be 4 quick tips to help your spider plant thrive. Before we get into that, please take 2 seconds to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any new planty content from me, and also be sure to check out the links in the video description, or check out the video description for links to my Patreon or YouTube membership for exclusive content and more extra perks, in addition to any other links or things that I mention in my videos. They will be in the description. Okay, and now we'll get into spider plants. So these are tips that I have just found from my personal experience, have helped my spider plants to thrive and grow to the best of their abilities. So if you have any special tips or tricks for spider plants, put them in the comments so we can all learn from them. But tip number 1 is light, light, light. Now it's known that spider plants like bright and direct light. Medium light is okay. Sometimes I see them being referred to as low light plants. You can put them in low light, but the thing is they'll get really skinny and spindly and lanky. So when it comes down to it, they really prefer lots of bright and direct light. This I keep outside on my balcony and it gets a little bit of direct morning sun. So even a little bit of direct sun is okay. You just don't want to have it like sitting roasting all day in direct sun. But I've always found that lots of bright and direct light will keep the spider plant happy, nice and full and bushy. And also this is the spider plant Bonnie, so it's a little bit curlier. This one actually isn't super curly, but the spider plant Bonnie is a little bit curlier than just regular spider plants, and I have found that light helps with curliness and bounciness. Of course, I say that as I'm holding up a not very curly spider plant Bonnie. But in the past, I have found that more light equals more curly and less light equals less curly. Tip number 2 is that if you have them in a window, move them in cold weather. And it's typically true that most houseplants, you should move away from the window if you can when it's really, really cold outside. But of course, some plants are more tolerant than others of that. The spider plant I have found is one that is really not tolerant of cold weather and being right up next to a window in the wintertime. I've seen like rapid decline in my spider plants in the window in the winter. So if you can move them to a different area or just a little bit further back in the wintertime. Tip number 3 is that fertilizing is really helpful, especially to grow babies. All these little spiderettes have recently popped out. See, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it looks like 4 I can see right now, but I'm sure others will be popping out soon. But I have found that if you're wondering, why isn't my spider plant having any babies? Where are they? I'm ready to cut them off and propagate them. Try just fertilizing it if you don't regularly fertilize it. And I have found that that is very helpful in producing spiderettes. And of course, these are way too tiny to do anything with right now. You'd want to wait till they're a little bigger until they have a little bit of aerial roots growing off of them, and then that's a good time to chop them off. But if you're lacking these altogether, try fertilizing. I just use a balanced general fertilizer, Jack's Classic fertilizer, and I'll put that in the description. And tip number 4 is about watering. So spider plants, and this is when it's helpful to have some background knowledge of your plants. Not that you have to be like a complete expert in everything, but just have some idea of like where your plant comes from and like what's its nature in its native habitat. So spider plants, they're native to parts of Africa, very dry, very hot. They have tuberous roots that store water. So that means that they can go a long time without being watered, because even if the soil might feel like it's drying out, they still have some secret water down there in storage. But what I have always found with my spider plants is that while they like to dry out, once they are dry, they don't want to be sitting around bone dry for too long. So I typically water mine just as soon as I see that it's like totally dry. I water it again. And if I wait a little too long with it being too dry, it'll start to go really, really droopy and unhappy looking. So while they do like to dry out, and while they can tolerate drying out, they don't want to necessarily remain dry forever and ever. So that is it for today's 4 quick and easy tips for a beautiful spider plant. Thanks so much for watching today. I hope these tips helped you. I hope you have beautiful, thriving spider plants, and I will see you guys next time.